Hello there, I'm Diane Louise Jordan, and we're looking at one of the biggest questions we can ever ask, which is, why does a good God let people suffer? Suffering is the central reality of life. It's something we can all be sure of, and for many people, it's their biggest reason for not believing in God. They say if God was good, he'd want us to be happy, and if he was all powerful, he could do what he wants. But we aren't always happy, are we? So either God isn't good, or he isn't powerful, or he isn't there at all. So why does God allow suffering?
I think the first thing that we have to say is that we don't always know the answer. Suffering can be a mystery to us. Now that may sound like a weak excuse, but just think about it a bit. Suppose that God really is there, the kind of God that the Bible talks about. Personal, completely good and loving, a God who knows everything, who's infinitely wise and infinitely powerful. That kind of a God would be vastly greater than we are. We couldn't always expect to understand what he was doing. It's just incredibly arrogant for us to think that we could understand God.
I think of it in the way that Lee Strobel, a journalist, an American journalist, explains it in one of his books, The Case for Faith, in which he asks the question, don't you think that the difference between a bear and a man is probably smaller than the difference between a man and God? And I think, well, yeah, maybe, because a bear and a man are not that dissimilar. And then he tells the story of a man who found a bear caught in a trap. And in order to help the bear caught in the trap, he tries to release the bear from the trap, but hurts it, of course, and the bear's angry and snarling and trying to hit back. So the man has to anaesthetize the bear, and the bear is even more suspicious now of what's going on, and so the bear's even more angry and can't understand. And even when it's released from the trap, is not grateful and is suspicious of what the man has done. But everything the man has done has been for the good of the bear. Now, he can't understand it because he's not a man. I can't understand what God's doing because the gap between me and God is even greater. But I do trust that what God has done and allowed in my life is for my greater good.
So the first thing that we need to say about suffering is, yes, that it's a mystery. God knows more than we do, and he's wiser than we are. Now that isn't the only thing that we need to say, but it is the first thing and the most important thing. And yes, saying that could just be an excuse for blind faith. But it isn't, because there are other reasons for believing in God. There's evidence in the natural world that points towards a creator. There's evidence in history, in the life and death and resurrection of Jesus. Evidence which shows that God has spoken and acted in the world. So there are good reasons to believe, even in the face of suffering. And we've looked at some of these reasons in the other videos that we've made.
When suffering strikes us, we want to ask, why me? And we don't always know the answer to this, but there are some things that we can know. Next time, we'll look at one particular reason why God seems to allow suffering.